my great pleasure today to rise to speak about this matter of public importance, because that's exactly what this is. Under your watch, Minister, we've seen the delay of a number of the state's largest infrastructure projects, and the Spirit of Tasmania new ships is just one of those things. Tasmanians, and quite rightly Northwest Tasmanians, are very proud of the Spirit of Tasmania and what it contributes to our regional economy, and also the opportunities that it provides to us through industry, economic gain, and also tourism, and showcasing our beautiful part of Tasmania. And I think it's important to put on the record today that the Spirit of Tasmania is yet another example of a great Labor infrastructure initiative, and we shouldn't forget the history of the Spirit of Tasmania and the great benefits that brought to Tasmania initially, and that it was indeed a product of a state Labor government. Minister, it's really not clear, and you've said that you've provided information, but you haven't been full and frank with that information, and today is the first time that we've heard about this potential birthing of the Spirit of Tasmania at the Port of Geelong. You haven't spoken about that. If it's something that you feel so passionately about and you believe that people should have information about, then why haven't you spoken about this before today? 88 days after GBE hearings. A bit's transpired in that 88 days. You've probably had a bit on your mind, probably been pretty busy during that 88 days. But nonetheless, it's important that people understand what those costs and potential costs might be at the Port of Melbourne, but at the Port of Geelong.
Made it very clear.
How much will the TT line berthing at Geelong Port cost?
You want Tasmanians to pay the price gouge. That's what you want.
You need to be open and transparent. This is important. This is an important piece of infrastructure for Tasmania.
Floor of Parliament in Hansard. See, this is the recklessness that you don't understand.
The Spirit of Tasmania is a significant economic driver for our economy, and for my electorate in Braddon, as I've said. It is pivotal in growing our tourism industry, and uncertainty around delays in the delivery of the vessels does nothing to provide confidence to the local community. It's pivotal to our agricultural sector, and it underpins people's confidence and their decisions that they make to invest, whether this be setting up a new tourism business or investing in a local irrigation scheme or starting a new agricultural enterprise. Today, we have learnt that there are ongoing negotiations around the Port of Geelong, and this being the new berth of the Spirit of Tasmania. And as I've said, this is the first time that this has been raised or discussed by the government. The Spirit of Tasmania vessels provide a vital lifeline between Tasmania and the mainland for tourism, freight and domestic travel. Part of the value of this service is that it docks in Melbourne, close to the Melbourne CBD, with central freight routes to the east and the west. The Spirit of Tasmania service doesn't belong to you, it belongs to all Tasmanians. Hundreds of Tasmanian businesses employing thousands of Tasmanian workers rely on its reliable service. One of these industries, as my colleague Dr Broad has alluded to, is agriculture, horticulture and in particular the berry industry.
You want them to pay more.
Fresh products are time-sensitive freight. Extra travel time could impact on these businesses' ability to get their fresh product to market, and extra costs could also be incurred by those producers for increased freight and transport costs. Have you consulted widely with industry? Yesterday, the Premier announced in his State of the State address about a potential Don irrigation scheme. And that irrigation scheme is well placed to initiate further investment in horticulture along the northwest coast. But what people who are considering buying into that irrigation scheme require is the confidence that they'll be able to get their fruit to market or their product to market. And whilst there's uncertainty around the service of the Spirit of Tasmania, that will be difficult for people to make decisions around that investment. The spirits and access to markets are critical, and they're critical to future investment in agriculture in Tasmania, but particularly in the northwest coast and the north of the state. There is huge potential for growth also in Tasmania's regional tourism sector, and the brand of the Spirit of Tasmania is an incredibly important part of this. Tourism isn't booming in the northwest like it is in the south. Airbnb and delays in significant projects like the redevelopment of Crable Mountain are impacting on visitation to our regions, in particular the northwest. We need strategic investment in tourism in the north of the state. And the Spirit of Tasmania has a pivotal role to play in this. And it's so important that we encourage people to turn right when they get off the ship rather than turn left. I want to finish my contribution today, Madam Deputy Speaker, by putting again 2 questions to the Minister from question time earlier today, which he failed really to answer. And they were that Tasmanian exporters rely heavily on the service provided by the TT line to get their goods to market. Farmers are making investment decisions right now and entering into supply contracts with customers, including supermarkets, that are highly sensitive to changes in price and delivery time frames, and that's important. Have you conducted any consultation with Tasmanian exporters about the consequences of moving the spirits to Geelong, which adds an extra hour and a half travel time to Melbourne? Why are you keeping Tasmanian farmers in the dark?